the beginning of the lyrics of Lorde and taking a look at the Flobots song Fight with Tools. And so what I want to talk about today is a little bit of a more in-depth analysis of that, some of the details that are going on in that song. So Lorde starts off her song with, "I've never seen a diamond in the flesh." She's never seen a diamond in real life. She's never seen a diamond up close. A diamond, of course, being a universal symbol for money and affluence. So she's never been involved in that. And then she talks about where she comes from, that she's not proud of her address, a torn up town. So a place like Sylvia lives in the lesson, or a place like Walter Cunningham, where he comes from, or where the Yules live, a place that doesn't have a lot of money. And she says no postcode envy, which seems to say to me that she's not interested in that other life, that she doesn't have envy for those other postcodes. She's happy with the postcode that she comes from. Then she has one of the greatest choruses ever lyrically in a song, where she says every song's like gold teeth, a reference to gold, money. Grey Goose, a very expensive vodka. Trippin' in the bathroom, reference to drugs, reference to this over-the-top culture that she's sort of referring to in her songs. Then she goes with bloodstains, ball gowns, trash in the hotel room. Sort of links the money to this disregard for other things. We're trashing the hotel room, this disrespect for the environment that these people are in. Everybody's like Cristal, Maybach, diamonds on your timepiece, jet planes, tiger islands, tigers on a gold leash. One of the greatest lyrics ever is if these people own tigers that they keep on a gold leash, you'd have to have an awful lot of money to have a tiger on a gold leash, so everybody gets this. But we don't care, we aren't caught up in your love affair. She distances herself with the pronoun we. We don't care, we're not caught up in your love affair. So spreads the distance between herself and these wealthier, kind of insanely affluent people that she points to in her song. And then talks about how, her friends count their dollars on the train. If you're counting your dollars, that's people who have a ton of money don't need to count their dollars. They don't need to worry about it. She's counting her dollars on the train to make sure they have enough to go and do whatever it is they're doing that night. Probably drinking sodas, not drinking, not doing drugs, not hanging out with people who do things like that. And everyone knows us, knows that we're fine with this. We didn't come from money. And then what's really interesting to me is the repetition of the royals. We'll never be royals. It don't run in our blood. Alluding to the kind of genetic or hereditary aspect that people historically have associated with being royalty. You're born into royalty. And her point is we're not born into that world. That world is that separate from us. We're different from that. And she seems to be okay with that. That kind of luxury just ain't for us. So that's the kind of emphasis of the theme that I see in Royals. I want to take a look at the Flobots and point out a few things, and then I'm going to leave you to your own thoughts tonight on these two lyrics, and we'll talk about it more tomorrow. Early on, they talk about finding that it's time to breathe, build, bend, and refine you. Breathe, build, bend, it sort of implies this remaking of something. Now, it's not super clear in the beginning, and then he talks about his call sign, Commando. Commando, look it up. Commandos are specially trained military unit trained to operate quickly and aggressively in urgent or threatening situations. So the reason he has to be a commando here is because he perceives some urgent or threatening situation that needs to be addressed. MO, an abbreviation for modus operandi. Check it out. It means the method in which you operate. And his modus operandi, the method he operates in, is independence. Free from these other influences, like Lorde wants to be free from these external influences that she alludes to. There's a lot of stuff that then starts to allude to what Lorde is talking about in her song. In that first or second stanza, just for now, thrill seekers, slanging. Look at Lorde's chorus, that's all slanging. Where gun blasts pump straight from the speakers. Poor get poorly paid to hold the ladder, where the rich get ricocheted into the stratosphere. It's a very similar concept of tone, but you hear a slightly edgier aspect to it. There's no sort of parodying going on. That's sort of a direct confrontation, that the poor are getting poorer while they hold the ladders, and the rich are getting ricocheted into the stratosphere. The rich people just have all these opportunities, like the people at FAO Schwartz on Fifth Avenue that Sylvia sees for the first time. And I like the reference to metals that make their status clear. Gold, platinum, things like that. That's why she talks about in her song, gold teeth. Tiger's on a gold leash because people's status. Diamonds on your timepiece. These are all things that show status that he's alluding to. I particularly am interested in the chorus of his as well. We need heroes. Build them. As if they're not there, you have to build them up yourselves. Don't put your fist up, fill them. Don't fight with people, but fill your fist with things that you can do and be productive. Fight with our hopes and our hearts and our hands, not our fists. Fight with our hopes and our hearts and our hands. I want to draw your attention then to the stanza that begins with, we're nonstop juggernauts. There's some words you need to look up. You should look up juggernauts. You should look up ziggurats. You should look up manifestos, terabytes, gigawatts, paradigms. And you'll notice there's a huge shift in diction here. The diction becomes much more elevated. The things that he's talking about, juggernauts, paradigms, these are not dogmas, sycophants, pragmatism, expectorate. These are not words that you normally hear. So what I want you to do tonight is I want you to dig through that particular stanza. We're nonstop juggernauts, stomp ziggurats, split manifestos, buy terabytes and gigawatts, shock paradigms, give sense to a score, blah, 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 all the way through. Offer hard work and prosper as handmade heroes brought to you by no sponsors. These heroes don't come from money. They're not brought to you by sponsors. They're people who have built themselves up. That's a lot of what this song is getting to. So really go through and tear down that particular stanza tonight and look up all those words and piece together what you think he's saying and then think about how that compares to what Lorde's talking about in her song. So there we go. There's my thoughts on that. And then tomorrow, instead of having to listen to me ramble on about this stuff, we can get into what you think and hearing your thoughts on this. Also, we talked about finding some other songs that you think relate lyrically to what's going on here. So get that done tonight, and we will go from there tomorrow.